It's your podcast all over again. Another episode. My name is Ken McGuire, joined as always from our socially distanced studio office in New Ross by Urban Gym's own Andy Murphy. And today, joined by former Republic of Ireland international and now hometown hero has returned. Daryl Murphy is playing with Waterford. Daryl, you're very welcome to the podcast. Thanks a million for taking the time out of your day. First and foremost, to have a chat with us. How are things? How are you?
I'm good. All good, considering these mad times. Not much we could do, chill out in the house. But no, look, delighted to be on, and thanks for having me.
Not a bother at all. To matters that are most immediate before we might have a chat back through your Irish career and football career in general. You're back with Waterford. You signed in September until the end of the season, which is just about done and dusted. You had your last home game there at the weekend. You had your first start. I know you did play against Shells, didn't you?
Yeah, it came on, yeah.
How was it going back to Waterford? I'm guessing this is the end of your professional career, is
it? Yeah. Well, it was always the plan. When I started out, kind of started at Waterford and maybe way across to England. But I always in the back of my mind wanted to kind of to finish at Waterford if I could, if I felt like I could still play when I finished up in the UK. And I think when I came home early due to the lockdown restrictions and what was going on. It was March, just after Paddy's Day, when I came back to Waterford, and not knowing what was happening with the club. They were obviously saying, look, they were trying to get back and finish the fixtures, but it never came to that, and just ended up being home since then, really. So bit of boredom kicked in then after a while when I knew I wasn't going back, and a few months off that absolutely flew, really.
Yeah.
And just needed to kind of keep ticking over and wanted to keep fit. So I asked, could I go down and train with the lads, and just to keep myself in some sort of shape anyway. And just enjoyed it when I went down. Just kind of missed the buzz of being around the lads and having every day getting up to have something to look forward to. And because it was a bit boring, I didn't think I'd be that bored when I came home, but quickly realised it is. And look, just delighted to be back, and they gave me a chance to come down and play.
Nice one. And so you had Dundalk at the weekend, which is always a good result to get one over Dundalk. I think Finn Harps is the next match, and that finishes things out in a week or two. Anything special kind of planned around it, even for yourself, to draw a line under things?
Well, at the moment, it was a big win for us against Dundalk, because previous games we're obviously hoping to get 3 points, and I think everyone's kind of fighting for that forward position, really, with a chance of Europe, depending on what happens in the cup with the teams that are higher above us. But I think that was important to win, just to get us in that forward position and kind of leave it in our own hands going into the last game. Now I know there's a few teams probably have a few games in hand on us, but look, we're in a decent enough position going into the last game, so it's everything to play for, really. At least we've given ourselves a chance to hopefully get that spot.
You wouldn't be tempted to stay on and give another crack in the Premier Division for a full season?
Well, I'd love to, but I think going into it, when I came back, I probably got a bit lazy and didn't train as much as I should have. So when I did go back to Waterford after a few days training, the body kind of told me, right, you went back into this without doing much. The legs started hurting, and I got a few calf problems, which was probably down to myself, not looking after it. But that took its toll on me, and it was frustrating because it was only after signing and I wasn't being able to play because the calf was giving me problems. And that kind of knocked me down a bit. I thought, right, I need to get this right, because the club have given me a chance to play with them, and I want to kind of give something back. So got it right, came on the last few weeks just to see how it was, and it was fine. That's why I started Saturday. I just thought I'll give it a go and see how I was planning on hopefully playing the first half. And maybe if I got through that, another 5 or 10 minutes. I remember asking the ref in the second half, what's left? And he said 2 minutes. And I said, 2 minutes. I couldn't believe it. I was. I wasn't expecting that. But no, it was a big boost. I think just confidence-wise in my calf, which I wasn't 100% sure of. It just gave me a little bit of confidence that, you know what, it feels okay. I'll see how the last game goes. And if I get through it unscathed, then I don't see any reason why I couldn't have another go at it. But look, I know my own body well enough now, and over the next few weeks, I'll be able to tell myself whether I can or can't.
Okay, fair enough. So we'll hit pause on any kind of official retirement and until we see what happens after Finn Harps. You've done fairly well though, Daryl, in terms of generally looking after yourself, you know, club to club and playing with country. Injury was never really a big thing for you.
No, I think I've said this to a lot of people. I've been very, very lucky with injuries. I think the longest I've been out was 6 or 7 weeks, which in football terms is nothing really. When you look at lads that do knee injuries and stuff like that, they're out for seasons, and like I could only imagine what they go through when they're injured, because it's a lonely place. When you're in the gym on your own and you're doing your rehab and stuff like that. I don't think people see that side of it looking in. So I could only imagine long-term injuries. It just goes to show the mental strength some players have to get over that and get on and play their careers. I've been lucky enough that the calf is the only thing that's given me bother throughout my career. Now, I'm probably an expert on calf injuries at this stage. I've had so many of them, but I know what I need to do with it to keep me on side. And I go back to the few months I had off doing nothing on it, when I really should have been keeping it strengthened and keeping ticking over. But as I said, it wasn't really in my mind that I was going to go back and play. I always liked the idea of it, but I think I said during the boredom, then you're sitting there and you're going, like, I'm so used to having a routine of getting up in the morning and going training for the last 15, 16 years. And that just came to an end, and I was kind of scratching my head going, right, well, what do I want to do now, kind of thing. And I just thought, I still feel like I can play. Like, I've kept myself in decent nick throughout the years, and I've always been quite lucky that I've been naturally fit enough to get on with it. So I think, look, I'm just delighted the position I'm in now, and I'm playing. As I said, Saturday, but you played a full game, so that was a big boost for me, fitness-wise, and hopefully, I said, go into the last game of the season and go out on a high, really.
How has that routine been for you? You say, you know, it's important to have it over 15, 16 years. You'd started say with Waterford back in the day, and then into Sunderland, and then on through other clubs. Have you maintained a similar routine for yourself over the years? Have you had to adapt it as the clubs change and as your body starts to age that bit as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think the older you get, like, more aches and pains. I feel that. I feel it after the game the other day, still today. A few aches and pains that obviously when you're younger, it take a day's recovery probably. Now you're talking 2 or 3 days to fully recover from playing a full game. But no, I think at my age, I feel good. I still feel like I can play. If I didn't, I wouldn't even bother. I wouldn't even bother trying, because I'd be letting myself down, and the club give me a chance. But I feel good, and as long as I feel as good as I do now, then I keep trying to play as long as I can anyway. Because I think many people over the years have told me, when I was taught about, look, I might pack it in next year, they're saying, look, if you feel good, play as long as you can, because when you retire, you will want to play. And I think, as I said, that was the case. When our season ended abruptly there in March, I think that was the case. After a few months, I was like, right, these fellas were talking the truth to me.
And you've seen kind of similar? You've had to make similar adaptations yourself?
Yeah, no, just what Daryl said there, and he goes about, like, how you feel. My own, like Richard, we know Richard Shannon, sports psychologist. He always said to me, how you feel is where it's at. And it's so true. Like, if you're still feeling good, just get out and play. Like you want to be the guy that's like goes out on your own terms at the end of the day. But I noticed myself from the MMA kind of background and stuff that like I miss it immensely. I miss fight week, and I can imagine for you with like having a match every week. You know, like we'd have a fight maybe once every 12 weeks or whatever like that. Maybe if you have a fight camp, but you know, fight week was always amazing. I can imagine what they, you know, get ready for a match on a Saturday, you know, for however many matches in a season must feel like. You know, you're going from like continuous highs to then, like you said, that feeling of like from March where there's nothing to work towards. It's like, geez, what do I do? And if I'm totally honest with you, it's something that I go through still daily. With the gym side of things, I have the gym to concentrate on now. I kind of focus on helping other people, but I certainly do miss, you know, the camaraderie with training with guys and traveling up to Dublin, stopping for a coffee, all the little things. It's not even necessarily the fights and the training. It's just the crack you have around it, like, you know. So that's why I was just fascinated to have you on today, Daryl, as well, because getting to this stage of the career, you know, it is, you often get asked from people like, what's next and what's next? And I think sometimes we're just still trying to figure out what the hell is next for us all, like, isn't it? Like, you know.
So if we're not totally sure in terms of what's next, how about we have a look at what got you to where you are now? Why football? Broad question, but why football?
I don't know. Even as like, I think I came into it late, because my son is 12 now, and he started playing when he was 6. I started playing at 11. Wow. So when you look at that, like I just grew up. I was playing, and it's actually funny because when I started playing at 11, I was the worst player you'll ever see, like ever. Like they wouldn't even give me a game. Like I used to be on the sideline and on the bench, and the manager used to be, I'd be saying, "Can I come on?" Like be getting beat 1-0, and he used to be looking at me as if to go, "What are you going to do if you come on?" Yeah, I'm ready. And just this went on for ages, and then I don't know, something just clicked that I started doing well. I think it was just, you know what? I knew myself. I wasn't good enough to be playing, but I just kept working hard at and just kept playing. Like we used to play 24/7, like if we could, like out in the street, like all the time back in the day, like as kids used to do. We were no different, all the lads, and we just played non-stop till it was dark, and that was every day. And gradually it just kind of started getting better. I think when I hit probably 13, 14, I was playing regularly and scoring regularly, and I kind of thought, right, I'm doing all right here. Like played in the Kennedy Cup for Waterford. We actually won it that year. So I think then I kind of started going on a lot of trials at that age, due to the Kennedy Cup, because usually it's a lot of the Dublin teams win it like most years. So it was massive for us to win it, being from Waterford, and that kind of opened up a few options for me. Went on trial to a lot of clubs in England. Nothing came of it. Came back, and I think I went to Luton at 17. Went over there, and to be honest, I think I was too young at the time. I didn't know what to expect, and that was a big eye opener for me, because from when I went there, didn't enjoy it one bit. I was in digs literally on my own, miles away from the lads, so I wasn't seeing them. I didn't have anyone over there basically. My girlfriend, wife now, Roseanne, used to be ringing her 24/7 on the phone. I actually got kicked out the digs because I was on the phone so much. And just wanted to be home. And when I did eventually come home, I was 19, went to Waterford and just loved it. Loved every minute of it at Waterford, playing every week, family, friends around me. And I just thought to myself then, do you know what, if I do get another chance to go over, I know what to expect. Obviously older and wiser, and went back at 22, then got in the Ireland under 21s, done quite well, and then the scouts came back in again, and Mick McCarthy took a chance on me for Sunderland, and that was it really.
What was the support structure like for you in Waterford, say before you head to Sunderland? Are they is it there to kind of gear you up to move beyond Waterford, or to kind of foster you within the club?
I think it was good because I think I just needed to play and fall back in love with football again. Because when I went to Luton, I wasn't enjoying it one bit. Like, going training was like, I wasn't excited about it. And I knew then, I thought, I'm so lucky here. Like, a lot of people never get this opportunity. And I'm kind of, I wouldn't say throwing it away, but I had a chance and I wasn't taking it because I think it was homesickness. It was like surroundings wasn't settling and stuff like that. So when I did come home to Waterford, it was just, I'd say, a relief and just enjoyment that I'm playing every week. I was scoring, we were doing well. As I said, everyone around me just in my comfort zone, really. And look, I obviously, when I got into the Ireland under-21s, I thought, right, if I do have another chance, then I'm going to take it this time. I'm not going to mess it up. So maybe the Luton thing probably made me stronger mentally in what I was going into at Sunderland. But when I went there, I just thought, right, I need to make a go of this because this is kind of my last chance. You're not going to get another one. Yeah. Some people are very lucky that I did get another chance, and thankfully I took it.
Would you regard yourself as a mentally strong footballer? Seems to have paid off for you across the years.
Yeah, definitely. I think the thing about me was I felt like I was always playing catch up to a lot of players. Like, I'd play with a player and he'd be better than me and he'd go, and then gradually I'd go after him, or someone else is playing the team instead of me for a while. And I think it just drove me on then that, right, when I went to England, I thought, you're playing in my position now. So I started getting, not nasty about it, but a desire of, I want to be better than you. If I need to be better than you if I want to play. And I think it was just that, I think I just needed that edge over people. Someone was always pushing me to get in the team, really. If I had someone in front of me, I wanted him out of the way. I want to be playing instead of him. Now I could be best friends with him, but it didn't matter. Like, you're in my way, I need to make it instead of you, kind of thing. I think that's the mentality I had going over there second time round. I think it was just a hunger that, look, I'm going to succeed here and I'm going to do whatever I can to succeed. And I think you kind of need that mentality as well. Like, at the end of the day, I think a lot of people say you've no friends in football, really. Like, obviously you do, but if you're up against someone that's in your position, then there's no holds barred.
Do you see the same in the fight game, Andy?
I was going to say the exact same. It's we are all pally and that, like, even in your clubs and that, but like, you are literally, you got to go and surround yourself with better guys to improve. If you're the biggest fish, certainly in the fight game as well, like, I can imagine in football as well, if you're the biggest fish in the pond in your gym, you kind of need to go elsewhere. It's not being disloyal, but to get better, you have to kind of move on in a way with the fight game, because you got to be, if you're not getting hit in training, then you're going to be in for a shock when you come up against someone of a better standard when you go into competition. And I can imagine the same with football. You know, at the end of the day, you're playing high level guys, and you know, when you know, teams make signings in the summer, I'm sure I can imagine what it's like, Daryl, to know, okay, you're playing with Sunderland, you have to get this major signing there, number 9, thinking, geez, well, I play number 9, I have to buy in this fella now, whatever. But you see, I guess years ago you would have seen the same with likes of Andy Cole and Dwight York for United, and you know, you see United signing Dwight York back in the day, and it seemed to raise, you know, someone like Andy Cole's game. I can imagine the same with yourself, Daryl, when someone comes in, you know, maybe who is perceived to be a better standard, but then all of a sudden you start raising your game. It's like, hang on a second, you're not taking my place. I think anyone, you know, who's successful, you need to have that drive about you. You know, we like to see other people doing well and stuff, but at the same time too, you have to challenge yourself. You have to kind of put yourself out there, and like I said, surround yourself with better guys to become a better version of yourself. You know, and the fight game for sure, and definitely when the Premier League and Championship, and even now, I'm sure for you, Daryl, it's like you go into Waterford and, you know, someone's been playing number 9 or whatever last maybe 6 months, then all of a sudden you got Darren Murphy coming and join. Like, yes, it gives the whole club a boost, but I'm sure it gives the other strikers a bit of a like, okay, hang on a second, I'm going to try and raise my game here now as well, you know. So It's the way it works, isn't it? It's the circle of life, really.
Definitely. I think you always need to push yourself anyway, but you just said it there. Like if you have better standard of players coming in, you need to raise your game or you're going to be left behind. It's as simple as that. And I think that's what pushes everyone. It's better for the team anyway. The more players you have in a position that are fighting for the one position, the better off your squad is and the team is going to do better. So no, you're spot on there.
So when you made the move then to Sunderland, and as you said, Mick McCarthy takes a chance on you. Where did you see yourself in that pecking order? Because you're in that group of players that are now coming in, that are now fighting for places.
Oh, I was bottom of the pile when I went over, but I knew that you're always going to be. I was in it. I think it was just like it was a sign that Mick McCarthy looked at, because Mick McCarthy, he probably the best manager I've worked with for developing players. Like he has an eye for players that, like you look over the years, the players he's brought in that went on to do so well and went for a lot of money. And he's done it at every club he's went into. So I think I was kind of a sign that we'll work on this fella, try make him better and get him playing. But unfortunately, then Mick got sacked the first season I was there, which I thought obviously was terrible at the time, because he wasn't given any money to strengthen the squad really, to stay in the Premier League. But when he went then, obviously it's someone else comes in, and it's mad like that, because different managers see different things in players. Like you could have someone who's been starting every week, every game under one manager. A new manager comes in and you just don't fancy you and you don't play. It's as simple as that. But my first season there, the plan was obviously get settled as quick as I could to see where I'm at in terms of am I going to play. And that first season, I think I played probably about 20 games, which was a surprise to me that I would. But that just gives you confidence. Then you're thinking, right, next season now I can have a go. And I think probably it worked out better for me that we got relegated. Because in the Championship then I started nearly every game and built up my confidence and was quite comfortable playing at that level. Got promoted again. And then I kind of played nearly that full season then when we got promoted, and felt more comfortable and more confident because I've been there a few years then. I've got used to the train, got used to how it's been played. It was probably a bit naive when I went over first, but you learn quick over there, and thankfully I did.
So in the space then of 3-4 seasons, you've played at Waterford, you've gone to Sunderland, you've been relegated into the Championship, you've been promoted back into the Premier League. It's a fair kind of roller coaster going from League of Ireland all the way through it and up and down again. How did you see the differences, say, between the League of Ireland stuff and then the quick introduction to the Premier League, and then the Championship, and then you're back all over again?
Yeah, as you said, it was like a roller coaster. You're going from one extreme to the other. But listen, I loved every minute of it. As I said, the Championship, when we got relegated, if we had been stayed in the Premier League, they would have brought in more players on a lot of money, for a lot of money, and I mightn't have got a look in. I think they were confident that I would have done well in the Championship after playing a few games in the Premier League and kind of getting settled that way. That when we played in the Championship, I had a good season, we got promoted, and then I was kind of trusted more experienced playing, that I played a lot more games then than I thought I would have. But I go back to sometimes, like, you need luck in football, you really do. And it could be, I think that was my lucky kind of break to kick on playing was it 40 something games in the Championship. I think I played nearly over 40. So that experience in itself, going to that league and playing that many games over a season, I think definitely stood good to me.
How did you find the fan side of things in Sunderland? Like we've seen the documentaries of late, Sunderland Till I Die on Netflix. It's like a city that's just kind of built and still pinning its hopes on football. How did you find the buzz around there?
Oh, in fairness to the fans there, they are unbelievable. They just love the football. It's as simple as that. Obviously, be harsh at times. Every set of fans are, but I think like we were getting in the Championship, what was it, the 40 2,000, close to that, or something like that. Like in the championship, it was madness. Like full stadiums, every home game. The atmosphere was unbelievable. We were doing well, flying, and it was amazing.
We've spoken with we've spoken with a couple of people about those big sporting events. And we had Alison on talking about the Women's Six Nations and coming on against New Zealand. And what was that? What's that feeling like for you? You get to walk out in front of 42,000 people. This is before you even get to your senior Irish debut. You're already experiencing kind of big crowds, mad fans. What does that do for you as a person?
It just gives you a massive boost, I think. And like everyone asks it, like, oh, what's it like? What's it like, the fans? And you can't explain the atmosphere. You walk out in a full stadium and you're top of the league and the place is just bouncing. But as soon as the game starts, it's like you don't hear like much because you're so in the zone in the game. And like people laugh at me when I say that. Like you don't really hear the crowd. Like you obviously hear the crowd if you have a shot or something like that, but you're so focused on the game and in the moment that you kind of try blank it out. And it's mad because everyone's going, what do you mean you can't hear the crowd? It's like, obviously you can hear the crowd, but you can't hear, people think you can hear like people just shouting on random comments there or something like that. But no one believes me when I tell them that. But look, it drives you on. Like the crowd actually drives you on. It's like, it's the biggest boost. You're running on adrenaline. It's like you're hyped up. It's hard to explain, really.
You've come across that as well, Andy. You've mentioned it before. You kind of, you've got fight buzz, you've got fight week, you've got whatever it is, 10,000 people in a 3 arena getting ready to cheer you on. But as soon as the door is closed, everything is blinkered. It's one-on-one, and that's it.
It's weird, yeah. I can totally relate. Obviously, with a much smaller crowd and stuff like that, but like, it's weird because the very first fight I ever had was in O'Loughlin Gales GA Sports Hall in Kilkenny. And I was walking out down the ramp and all that. You can hear a crowd fair enough going in, but it's the same for the 3 arena. You hear maybe once you're actually in, it's just you versus another opponent, then the referee. So nothing changes by the environment. So it was actually a question I was going to ask you, Daryl, because I was intrigued by that same thing. Was like, I wonder how Daryl feels like, going from playing in front of 42,000 to now we're obviously in a coronavirus situation where there's nobody. Obviously, it probably feels different walking out, but when you're playing the game, I'm sure it's still like you're still focused on 3 points. You're still focused on the job that you have to do, which is obviously, beat the team you're playing against.
Yeah, it's like that was my first taste of it with like during the lockdown with no crowds and that. And I've obviously watched games on the telly, and I used to be texting the lads going, that must be weird. Like, and he said, it's like a pre-season game, basically. They'd be saying it's just so strange that you like, if we go back to the crowd, like how much they hype you up and drive you on for, even when you're tired at the end of games or something, you get a big roar. It just gives you a big boost that like, right, I can go again kind of thing. You know what I mean? It just gives you that energy. And well, like even, it was just weird. The first game I come on, I think Shelbourne for 15, 20 minutes, whatever. It's just dead, like, and you're going, geez, tumbleweed going across the green and everything. But look, I suppose this day and age now, everyone's just getting used to it, aren't they? It's kind of the new norm at the minute. But hopefully the crowd come back soon.
It's mad because obviously with you coming back to Wharf, I'm sure if you were making your return in the RC and there's a big full crowd there and you hear your name being like announced, by the time I'm sure you get a massive roar, hometown kid back playing. But now it's like, maybe I don't know if you get like the random little clap.
I actually laughed. I laughed the other day because in the Shelbourne game when I came on, I was coming on, and I just heard this woman going, "Go on, Darren!" like clear as that. I nearly laughed to myself.
She bought the
clear as that.
Deadly. Well, I think what you said there about the boost and the thing for the fight game is like, whether I'm the guy taking a big massive shot off someone or you land a big shot, you hear that like roar or whatever, it does give you a boost. I think that's the only time you hear a lot of stuff, like really is on the big events. Like I'm sure when you hit the top corner or whatever and you're back in the net, you get that elation, the crowd roaring or whatever. I'm sure that gives you huge goosebumps, all right. But when you're focused on the task in hand, you probably don't hear a thing. Like,
No, you don't. Exactly. You don't. When you're so focused on it that you just blank it out, really.
So you got a couple of seasons at Sunderland. You've already played underage level at Ireland. You've done under 21, under 23, and then you get a chance to make a friendly appearance. So you go to the States. It's 2007, and in a senior capacity, you're pulling on the jersey for the first time. How was that for you?
No, that was unbelievable. I think because I think that was the season that we went back up with Sunderland. So we've just been promoted. I'm obviously on cloud nine. I go on holiday with my wife and her daughter, and get a phone call saying you've been called into the Ireland squad. So I'm thinking, happy days, like buzzing for this. And so we got the holiday shower, go back, meet up with the lads, and we fly out to the States. And just buzzing, pure enjoyment, like everyone ringing me, congratulating me and stuff like that. And just couldn't wait to get going, really, and start. I think we played, was it the Giant Stadium we played? Was it Ecuador?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Ecuador, if I remember. And I think it was 1-1. Kevin Doyle scored the goal. Actually set him up. I think it was 1-1, yeah. And just buzzing, like, just to get that first cap out of the way, and just wanted to kick on, really. But I can't, like, that it's the highest honour you can get, playing for your country, and I'm no different than any other Irish player. Or that is the top of the tops for me, and that I'll always look back and be proud of that. But yeah, just that call to say you're in the squad and flying out there, being part of the team, and that was, I'll never forget it.
Had the ambition been there all along to play for Ireland, or was it a nice bonus as you realised that you were progressing fairly well?
Oh no, I think after the first season, I probably thought, right, if I get my head down and do well next season, then we can look at hopefully getting in a squad. And as I said, that season was big for me after getting promoted and playing. That when the call came, obviously surprised, but absolutely delighted. And I just thought then, right, you need to kick on a bit more here now, go to the next level again. And look, it just gives you a big boost as well. Your confidence is sky high. We've just been promoted. I'm buzzing, and then I get a call like that. Confidence goes up again. I'm thinking, right, I'm ready for this. Get me playing.
Okay, so you drive on with Sunderland after that, and then you get to the Slovakia match, and you're into a competitive fixture, and now you're part of the fold at that stage. That's your next level up.
Yeah, that's. I think, trying to think, like, I think I came on that game, been involved, and then I think after that I kind of slowed down a bit. Trapattoni came in, and I disappeared for about 5 years.
But does that come back to what you were saying, where a manager will come in and just he'll like something about you, or he won't, and then you're
yeah. And you know what? Still to this day, I scratch my head because obviously Robbie Keane was still there. He was playing every week. Kevin Doyle was playing as well, and I was his first sub that he used in every game I was in the squad in. So to literally find out on the internet that I wasn't in the next squad was like, what did I do here? I must have done something wrong. Like, could not think of anything, and that was it. Out of the team for 5 or 6 years.
Was there ever anything said or anything outlined about it, or it was just that was it?
That was it. Just wasn't in the squad, and so obviously after a while you get your head around it and say, right, well, that's that then. Until someone else comes in, and no one else came in for a long time. So you just get on. Listen, you just get on with it. You go back to your club and you do as well as you can there, and try just kind of forget about it. But at the same time, you can't, because you're watching every game that they're playing and you're supporting the lads, and it was tough.
What's well, I don't know. It's obviously going to be tough, seeing that. But how do you just sit and wait and go, okay, Trapattoni's not going to be around forever. I will get knocking on the door. I either have to really, 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 really kick on and hope that something changes with him, or by the time that he's done, that I'm in a better position. It's a funny one. It's one in terms of watching Irish careers. I know you're saying that you're left scratching your head about it. I think there's a lot of us that were kind of left scratching our heads about it and wondering what kind of an impact it would have had on the Irish side of things, and on yourself as well, if you had been involved in Trapattoni's setup. Do you ever think that it would have been different or could have been different?
To be honest with you, I try to not even think about it, because I think after that, and obviously after a few years passed, I just thought, right, well, no matter what I do, I don't think I'm getting back in the squad. So I just put that kind of in the back of my mind, really, and just concentrated on club football. And as I said, the team done well, but I think he was just stuck in his way that he had a certain team that was playing all the time and never really kind of brought players on. Or I think he was just typical Italian manager, just had a nice structure to the team and defensive, and had his players that he knew was playing all the time. So look, these things happen in football. It was devastating that happened at that time when I was involved, and then you're kind of gone from it then.
Okay, so in the meantime, while that's happening, you're at Celtic. You do a couple of loan stints at Ipswich, and then you land at Ipswich proper, and you give a serious account for yourself at Ipswich. 50 odd goals, 100 and something odd games. How was your time there?
I loved it at Ipswich. Absolutely loved it. Again, Mick McCarthy, he came in. When I first went on loan from Celtic, it was Paul Jewell was manager there. So I was just playing every week and enjoying football. And then Mick McCarthy came in as manager, which was a bonus for me. Then again, got to work with him again after all those years of signing me, bring me over first from Waterford, and it was just great to work with him again. It was enjoyable playing every week. We were doing really well at the time, and ended up getting to the playoffs at the end of the season, and unfortunately that's where it ended.
How important is that relationship? Because we've in terms of the fight side of things, we've spoken about working with particular coaches kind of on and off, or having a kind of a one career coach. But for that relationship with you obviously know what Mick is about at that stage, and he knows what you're about at that stage. So how did that kind of help things along?
He's just so easy to work with. Like, it's straight to your face. He's gonna tell it as it is. There's no messing around. I've had managers in the past where they tell you one thing and give you another. Like, it's like, oh, you're doing really well, you get a chance. You don't get a chance. I'd rather him say, look, you're not for me, or you're not doing what I want you to do, and look, you're going to find it tough getting in the team. That's Mick McCarthy. He'll tell you. I'll tell you a good one. When I was playing that season, and I scored 27 that season, and it was a good bit through the season. I was doing really well. I think I didn't score in a game or two, and he's pulled me into the office on a Friday. He got the curly finger. I thought, oh no, someone always got the curly finger on a Friday. I thought, what's this now? So I've gone into the office, and he's like, how are you feeling? I said, I feel great. And he said, right. He said, you're being a big soft paddy this week in training. He said, what's up with you? He said, am I gonna have to bench you tomorrow? And I went, no, geez, no, you don't. He said, well, right, well, get your act together. And that was it. Went out the next day and scored. So it was like he just knew I was taking my foot off the gas just a little bit, and he wasn't having any of it. Little kick up the arse and good to go again. But I think that's the qualities he has. He knows players. He knows how to get the best out of players and what they need. And like, I don't think any other manager would have done that. When I'm playing week in, week out and scoring nearly every weekend, for him to just think, right, hold on a sec, you've took the eye off the ball here for a minute and have a little chat with you and sort you out. And that's Mickey. He's brilliant like that. And in fairness to him, maybe if he hadn't had that chat with me, because when you are scoring every week and you're playing every week, you're taking it for granted that, right, I'm going to be playing. and he just put that little seed in my head, thinking, right, I can drop you if I want. You know what I mean, kind of thing. I need to up my game here a bit more.
I'm the gaffer. But hey, but jokes aside, isn't it amazing when you have, I've always thought about this, when you have someone that has belief in you, what it does for your confidence and of your own career and the way that you performed at Ipswich. Like, my brother's a Wigan Athletic fan, so you wouldn't have done him any favors now, but like, it's amazing what happens. Like, I would have been the same. Like Andy Ryan, Team Mile HQ, he's very stern, he's very hard, but like, he's at the same time too be the opposite there to what Mick did. Like, Andy'd be pretty hard a lot of the time, all the time, but yeah, he'd put an arm around you when you need it then as well, and it would just give you that little bit of a boost. Like, I'm doing okay. And again, it's important when you have a coach, I feel, that they can read you and know what you respond best to then as well. Because I guess other people, Mick could maybe brought into the room on a Friday and that could knock their confidence and they don't score a goal or whatever on Saturday, and they're kind of, they make a couple of errors, but obviously it seemed to do wonders for you,
Yeah. I think he just knew how to get the best out of me. He knew I wasn't one that if he gave a bollocking or whatever, that I was going to go hiding. He knew that I can take it. He might need this, and that's what I think separating from any manager I've worked with, really. He just had that balance. His man management was the best.
How have you found the man management side of things then, club to club, across the clubs? That not to be kind of naming and shaming managers that you might not have gotten on with or anything, but obviously people have different approaches.
Yeah, of course. Listen, every manager is different. Every manager, but I think, like, I've been lucky with the managers I've worked with over the years. I've worked with some top managers, so I've been kind of lucky in that way. But everyone has their different personalities. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, like any walk of life. But I just think you need to clue in straight away. If a new manager comes in, you need to know what he's about, what he wants, what way he works, and you need to find out quickly. Because, as I said, if managers don't fancy you, you're not playing. It's as simple as that. And that's why you see so many players, when a new manager comes in, moving clubs or not playing or stuff like that. I think you just need to buy into. Most managers give you a clean slate when they come in, and you need to buy into what they're about and what they want to be successful or get a game, really. Was
it that way with Martin O'Neill?
Martin O'Neill, yeah. Every manager that I've worked with, I like Martin. I've great time for him. He's another manager that believes in me. Mm. We talk about Trapattoni. The years I didn't play, Martin came into the Ireland fold and gave me a chance. Because I was doing well at Ipswich and scoring goals, and he was coming to watch games. He watched a lot of games. If he wasn't there, he'd have his staff there. Always someone keeping tabs on you. With all the Irish players all over England. So we knew what I was doing in the league, and even at my age, I think it was at 32, 33 at the time, or something like that when I went back in, probably a bit younger. And he gave me a chance, and even years later, then he was at Forest, and I played under him there as well. So a great time for Martin O'Neill.
So how was your second coming then into the Irish fold, and did you find that things had changed in the kind of pre-Trap to Trapattoni times, and then into getting to play under Martin O'Neill for the few years?
Yeah, it's when Martin came in and gave me a chance, it was like totally unexpected that I was getting back in after all them years. I thought, right, well, that's me done with Ireland. And then out of the blue, you're given a lifeline like that to play. And it's just the same again. You get the buzz and you just can't wait to be involved. And you're playing the Aviva with nearly full stadiums and big games. And it's just, as I said, you can't explain it. It's just euphoria and absolutely delight to be back in there.
And then it's not too far along the road. You're coming back in. Ireland have a whole crunch series of games. Qualification for the World Cup in 2018 is underway, and then you get that goal against Serbia. That's your first international goal. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. Well, to say it was a long time coming would be an understatement. I've had a few chances that, for whatever reason, they weren't going in. I think I was tried too hard. It was hitting the post, or something was going wrong anyway. So to come on as a sub and score that goal, and it was a big goal for us as well. It's just, I think, pure relief that I scored the goal. Because I was thinking so much about it. I was thinking, you know what, I'd love to score a goal in a game that actually matters instead of just a friendly.
Here's your
And
perfect opportunity. Like,
so when that went in, it was absolutely buzzing.
you got the 2 against Moldova as well after.
Yeah, that was nice. Obviously still another big game. I think people underestimate I wouldn't say lesser teams, but every game is hard. I think this day and age now, at international level, you don't really get easy games. So I think it was an early enough goal that kind of settled the nerves and got us the win in the end. All right, but another big game.
So when you're going into the Irish fold, you're coming out of Ipswich, you're mixing it with guys that are, for the most part, similar level. You're all playing in the Championship. The odd kind of Premier League players is dropped in and dropped out over the years. Do you find that I don't know, does your training change? Does something else click in you going, okay, I've made it into the international team, I need to keep myself here? Is keeping yourself there driven by doing really well on the club side of things and looking after you, or when you get into the international fold that you're doing really well there, whether it's the training sessions every couple of weeks or when you find your name on the team sheet that you're really putting in the graft?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both, really. I think you obviously need to be playing well at your club. But at the same time, if you are getting in the Ireland squad and you're playing or training or whatever, and you're doing really well, I think they know what you can do and what you're capable of. Like, everyone's going to have a bad patch. So you mightn't be playing so well at your club level, but now the manager of the Ireland team and their staff know what you bring to the table. And they know just because you are having a little bad patch, you've done well for the team previous, that they know they can trust you, basically. I think I was at a stage where I was involved in nearly every squad, and if I wasn't coming on or starting, just working hard every day in training to just stay at a decent level of fitness and a standard that the manager might say, right, we can trust him to play, or, you know what I mean, he's been doing well and he's caught the eye in training. And it could be the tiniest thing in training. Like, you might have 11v11 in training, you might do nothing all game, and you could just score a goal from nowhere, and it just plants a little seed in the manager's head. Right, well, he scored the only goal in the game. You know what I mean? I don't know, from previous managers I've worked with, I know that they go out training sessions, purely training sessions, how you are when you come into the squad and how well you've done in the week's training leading up to the game, that you could get picked on a very good week of training.
Interesting. So how did you find you, just on touching on the fitness side of things, how did you find your own fitness, or maintaining your own fitness? I know we mentioned earlier that, you know, injuries were never really a bother to you. Was there an added pressure at the international level as kind of things go on, new players are coming on? I'm probably kind of getting toward the age thing, because I remember reading at the time, when after the Denmark game and you were calling the international retirement the few months after that, a lot of it was probably driven down to your age. Was the age tied to fitness? Or
no, it wasn't fitness. The reason was I was living in England on my own for quite a few years. My wife and kids were back in Ireland, and the kids were settled in schools here. So it was more of, if you're going away internationals at your club level, you could have 4 days off during that period, which was family time for me, really, that I was missing out on. So I was going into squads and could be away from home, not to see my wife or kids for a few weeks, which was tough. And I think it was probably the age factor that I can't really do anymore. We've not qualified for the World Cup. I think that was the main thing for me. Obviously, if we had qualified, I would have wanted to stick around and be involved. But I just thought there's younger players going to come in, and like, what am I hanging around for to get another few caps when there's nothing really to play for me in the Ireland setup. I think there's going to be younger players that deserve a chance, and get them in early and get them their caps and experience in that. I just thought there was no really to go for me from there. If we had qualified for another tournament, I would have been way too old by then anyway. And that family time was valuable to me. So that was kind of a bit of both, really, the decision to retire for probably the age a bit older, yeah, and just have time with my family.
How did you find the family thing? I didn't realize that the family were back in Ireland while you were playing in the UK. That's got to be tough as well, is it?
Yeah, it was tough, but I was telling my wife about 5 years ago that, right, I'm retiring this season, and then I get a contract for another 3 years. Right, with another 3 years, I'm retiring after that, and I got another 2 years. So it kind of went on a lot longer than I expected. I think the older I got, the fitter I got.
That's the fitness side of things then.
Yeah, but no, look, it was always the plan. Our eldest now, our daughter she's 15, 16 in January, so she was going into secondary school in England, and we just thought it's not fair on her to have to come home in a few years and try to settle into school when all the kids have been together for a year or two, and it's like it's tough on them. And it was always the plan to move home anyway, so we made that decision to get them settled in school. And as I said, it was the best decision ever, because they're settled here now, and my wife got a break from me for a few years, which she was happy with, so it all kind of worked out well.
How important has the family support been?
Yeah, it's been massive. I think there was times where obviously you get down and you're on your own, and you're missing out on a lot of family stuff that's going on, and things like that is really hard. But I think speak to my wife, and she just say, look, like, the time is going to fly, you know that yourself, because the seasons do go fast. And it was just like, look, you'll be home for long enough anyway, so just get on with it. You're in a position where most people wouldn't be at your age. I think she was trying to make me stay over there for another few years.
That support is amazing, though, isn't it? Like, it's great to have that support. Like, from my own perspective, Maria's always asked, how do you put up with Andy fighting in a cage, whatever? But she met me when I was getting ready for a fight in a cage, I'd say. So she's always had that support for me. And the same thing that triggered me there, that hit home with me, was this: you'll be home long enough. And the idea that here you are now, you're back in Waterford, you've had an amazing career, you can look back on it with pride and know that you gave it your all. And by having such a supportive family around you, it just made you be able to do that. Whereas you can see a lot of other guys, and I've friends and people that where, their partners maybe put a leash on them, not so much a leash, but they can hold them back a little bit, and they don't want them going to these places, or they protect them from that. But it's great when you have someone alongside you that can enable you to live your dream. And now, like I said, you're still young, you still got a lot of living to be done, Yeah. And you don't want to look back with any regrets thinking that you missed out on anything. And again, I'm a dad to 2 young kids myself. Like, you can't beat family time, but years still ahead,
Oh yeah, I think it was just the fact that I knew they were settled. The kids were happy at home. That was good enough for me. Once they're happy and my wife is happy, then I'm happy. You know what I mean? It's like, you just get on with it, and you have to.
Yeah, it's true. I think like a lot of people look beyond that, say, for footballers, don't they? They see that, like, they think that you're not human beings, like, when you're living your stuff. But you guys have feelings too. You got families. You got, like, I'm sure you'd be getting homesick and that. You've got family that yours at home that you're not getting to see weekly, and then you go and perform, and then maybe you have a good game and everyone's all about it. But if you have a poor game, you're going home, maybe on your own, or
exactly. Tough. It's a lonely place when you have a bad game and you're on your own.
That's it. I remember back in, I think it was 2012. I won a fight, but after I had won it, I had no one really to celebrate with, and it was a pretty lonely spot. Like, it's like, yeah, it's great and all, but like, you'd rather be maybe at home with the missus, or with some of your friends, whatever like that. Like it can be lonely as a sports person when you're putting everything aside. You know, you're not getting to go out and have a few drinks with the lads, or you're not spending time with the family, but like everyone's all put on the performance. And if you perform, it's great, but if you don't, then yeah, it's the demons start kicking in, don't they?
They do all right.
Daryl, over the years, I know it's kind of circling back to where we started, knowing that you're at Waterford now, and we did walk through Sunderland and Celtic and Ipswich, and you go from there on to Newcastle. Newcastle get promoted back up. You go from Newcastle to Forest to Bolton. It was Bolton.
Yeah.
Bolton for last season before the Waterford move. A lot of ground covered over the years. So where was your most enjoyable experience across it all? Because you've had promotion, you've had relegation, you've had Premier League, Championship, you've League One with Bolton, you get a taste of Champions League football with Celtic. You have the international side of things as well. Where are the high points for you?
I think there was a lot of them. I think you can look at Sunderland, you look at Ipswich, you look at Newcastle getting promoted as well. I think the most enjoyable year I'd probably say was Newcastle. For the simple fact that when I signed there, I thought I'm going to get hammered here by these Sunderland fans for playing for Sunderland. I said, I'm not looking forward to this. And from the first day I drove in, they just took to me. Like, I don't think I've ever heard a bad word when I was going to training, at a game or whatever. And I thought, right, I need to get my head down here and perform for these, and I'll be all right. And when I got the chance, scored a few goals, got promoted, and it was probably the most enjoyable season I've had, because they did welcome me in when they mightn't have. And like the atmosphere playing at St. James's Park, 52,000, like playing the Championship, was amazing. And then to go up, got promoted came first on the last game of the season. We're standing on the pitch waiting for a result of Aston Villa and Brighton. I think it was Jack Grealish scored nearly the injury time. And we've seen pictures that Brighton had like all the champion signs and everything waiting to come on the pitch. And we're standing around on the pitch waiting on phones, and then just a massive roar. And I had my wife and kids on the pitch with me, and it was just unbelievable feeling. But I think that year itself, I really enjoyed that.
So have you anything in mind after the Waterford side of things? Like, do you look, you've made reference to, young lads coming through on the Irish side of things, looking for them to get a chance. I mean, you'd plenty of chances yourself. Is coaching on the horizon? Is punditry on the horizon?
I started a bit of coaching there a year or two back. I don't know if it's for me. I really enjoyed it, like coaching the kids and that, but I don't know. I'm still don't have my mind made up. It'll be something to do with sports related anyway, like fitness or something like that I'd enjoy doing. Bit of punditry maybe. I don't know, but I have a few options at the minute. We're still with Waterford, and I don't know what's going to happen after this season, whether I do play again or not. But I'll let you know anyway.
Will we see you on a spinning bike, Daryl?
I have my spinning bike here, yeah.
I was going to say, I hope you do. Dylan has a great little business going.
Yeah, well, that's keep me going, and fair play to him, because during the lockdown, he dropped one down to me.
Yeah.
So I've been doing the online classes and keep myself ticking over, but I enjoy it. Like, I do enjoy that.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. Like, Ken, I'm not sure if you know, but Daryl's brother Dylan, he runs a business, Spin and Go, and he hires out spin bikes to people's homes and that, and he does all the live classes, and it's just amazing. Again, he's someone I've been messaging a lot throughout lockdown as well, because I've just seen how innovative he's been throughout the whole thing, and like, just you can see it also runs in the family, just that drive just to succeed regardless of whatever barriers are put in front of yourself and himself. Like, it's just great to see. There's just lovely fellas then as well behind it all then too. So I'm sure there'll definitely be something in fitness for you anyway, Darrell. That's for sure. There's a few
Oh,
bites.
yeah, definitely. I'll have to have a chat with him, see if get involved in something anyway.
I think for sure.
Well, look, we're just hitting the hour mark, Darrell. As we usually kind of wrap up the podcasts, we give people the chance to have the final word. Anything you'd like to chip in on or have a say on?
Not really, actually. Was that an hour already? That flew, lads. Enjoyed it.
You won for the Morphy match the other day. Is it 2 minutes and all we got left? Is it?
I know, yeah, that's what it is. Enjoy that, lads, and good company from both of you. Thanks very much for having me.
Not a bother. Well, look, best of luck against Finn Harps. Here's to a start, and here's to cementing that position in the league. Final day of the season.
Anyway,
Andy, anything from you?
No, just a huge Darrell. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on. I know how busy you are. I just love it to get your story out again. I'm always fascinated with this, and what an amazing career. And then whatever you go on to, I'm sure you'll be successful at as well. But thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks very much
for the chat. You're an absolute gent. Thank you so much.
Excellent.
Thanks a lot. Cool. Cheers, lads.
That's Darrell Murphy. That's Andy Murphy. I'm Ken McGuire. This has been your podcast. We'll do it all again soon. Good luck.